Hello.
Okay.
Whoa. Okay. Here we go. Hello, groomers. It's Barbara. Sorry to make you wait, but like I say to my customers, thanks for your patience.
Hi, groomers. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Barbara.
And
Happy
Susie.
and Susie.
Happy
Happy birthday
birthday
to
to you.
you.
All right. All right. Happy birthday to us.
I know it's true.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. It goes GroomPod, then it goes Susie, then it goes Barbara. It's just celebration after celebration. I'm taking the hat off though because it's full of a big towel and it's very heavy. But I did want everybody to see I'm acknowledging the party. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, the birthday thing is good just as long as you don't do the math.
I
Yeah,
know. I'm just not very into the birthday thing anyway, but I should be careful because just in case my friend is going to watch this, although she never does. Sharon and Tom came out and we had pizza, and Tom made me a pineapple upside down cake, and I ate all but 3 pieces of it.
I guess you like. Is that your favorite cake?
It is my favorite cake.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't have a cake, but I had a pizza.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I had a pizza and I had chocolate covered donut things.
Hey, that's almost cake.
It was cakeish, and so there, but I consider it the birthday week. So I have there's time yet to have the cake, and I have an invitation to ride a Harley.
Really?
Yeah, I have an invitation to ride on a Harley, and I think I'm going to take him up on it. And it's a client, it's one of my cat clients, who has yeah. Anyway,
that tickles me. I think that's cool.
Anyway, Yvonne kind of tricked me into it because he came in yesterday and he was wearing his Harley shirt and his Harley vest, and and he offered me a birthday hug, and so I took it. he's a good looking guy. What the heck, I'm going to refuse. No. So I took, and so then Yvonne from the Peanut Gallery says, well, what she really needs is a ride on your Harley. And he said, oh, no problem. Let's do it.
Does it have a backrest? Is it a Harley with a backrest?
I don't know.
Well, either way, you're going to also have to. No, you don't. You want to have to wrap your arms around that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, have to hold on,
It's true. Very true.
Yeah, well, when you get older, you kind of take it piecemeal how you can get it. You know what I mean? I'll take a little piece of that.
All right. I think maybe a backrest and wrapping your arms around are in order.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't have a backrest, it'll be a short ride.
Okay.
But so we'll see. Okay, go on.
Well, welcome to episode 196, the actual 196.
Little foul up there.
Okay, I admit I posted that episode at like 11:30 at night. That's really late for me. I go to bed at 10 o'clock. So 11:30 is late, and I was tired, and I was already moved ahead to the next episode because I had been working on that episode for a week. So anyway, I tried to correct it. I think I've corrected it in the way it shows up, but I'll have to correct it in the files later that are the archives on the site. But whatever, we'll survive.
For me, it's a matter of because we reviewed a product, and that like it makes it a little bit tricky sending them the link, but it's all good. Hey, I had an incident related. I had a stress from a late night business meeting.
Okay, time out. Welcome to episode 196 of the Groom Pod, recorded on June. On January 20th, 2019 in Snohomish, Washington and Tucson, Arizona. This podcast is brought to you by listener support. That's you guys through Amazon, Patreon, and through our kind sponsors, Best Shot, Show Season, Stasco, South Park, and Evolution Shears. This week on the Groom Pod, we're going to talk no shows, cancellations, and rescheduling. Our definition du jour is a Facebook question about lavender and tea tree oil, and we'll be talking about how we talk to our owners about their difficult pets. You can find us you can find it.
Where can you find us, Susie?
God, I don't know. You can join the discussion at facebook.com/group/the-groom-pod. And that's it. Now you can tell me, Barbara.
Okay, so I had an incident yesterday because of late night business, so yeah, like I do too. I was in bed and I was answering texts, and I had a customer change their appointment, and I booked them for Saturday the 19th, and then promptly went to sleep and forgot about it.
Oops.
So we already had a full day scheduled yesterday, and then these two other dogs showed up, and Yvonne just about lost it. She's stressed out so bad. I had to assure her, we still only had 9 dogs total, and we've done, I've done more than that by myself.
I was going to ask, how did it go? Because you're talking about having to up your increase. I would love to send you some of the people that are calling me, because they're coming out of the woodwork all of a sudden. I don't know, people got Christmas dogs, but how did it go with doing that many dogs?
Well, you know what? We were done ahead of time. We were done early because the team upped we just became all more efficient, more focused. We didn't chat as much,
Good job.
Yeah, it can, like the work will fill the space the time available. It's just like water in a glass of water in a glass, and we just got to our business and got it done. It done. Yeah.
It's interesting. I didn't know you had that little issue when I picked the topic today. It's funny how that tied in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing how our lives work together. Okay.
Yes.
So
what else gone on? Anything exciting during the week?
No, it was a pretty right on week. But I'll tell you, yesterday was a day from hell, and it wasn't so much a day from hell because of the number of dogs. It was a day from hell because I had inadvertently scheduled a lot of behavior problem dogs on the same damn day. Susie, I can't do that.
What did you have? Tell us your list.
I had, first of all, I had the new Wheaton that accompanies the old Wheaton, and the old Wheaton is a gem on the table. He was the really high point of my day on the table, but the puppy is awful. And he has no attention span. His coat is from hell. It's this wispy, fine stuff that just looks crappy no matter what you do to it. And he's just leaping and bounding around. Sometimes you just wish you had Velcro that you could put on their feet pads and just stick them on the table. So they, because even if you strap up the hind end, if they're dancing around and bouncing and everything, it's still a damn problem. You're going to put their head right to the pole and they can still, get bouncy. Oh, he was horrible. Then I also had the Scotty from hell, the new Scotty that they're not doing any limits on, like you can just tell that the home life is just a free-for-all. The Wheaton owner is working on it, and he says he's having all kinds of problems at home with the dog tearing up the furniture and stuff like that. The Scotty puppy is just off the wall about his head, and I didn't have any extra time for table training.
Right.
And
So
then the old Shih Tzu that was like matted from chewing on herself, and that's a household where they're not giving the dog the necessary medical attention. But like I don't mind giving that dog chicken legs, but but I wanted to preserve the apron, so
yes.
I used my magic detangler from iGroom, and I really was able to brush out a lot, but that was time consuming. And then she's gotten awful about, again, her face. She's old, she's having depth perception problems, and she doesn't want me to hold on to her whiskers. Sometimes I make the mistake of clipping the chin before.
That's an error big time.
Well, that's just that's a procedural error. Grooming
Totally.
procedural error. Do not take off the chin whiskers until you finish the rest of the face.
So that's 3 hardcore haircuts right there
That
already.
was 3. We had the Yorkie, big oversized Yorkie from hell. He was one of the 2 extras that I brought in. The other one that goes with him is a Irish, not an Aussie Terrier, and she's gotten awful. And I mean, it was just one after. We had the Bichon mix that has some kind of a horrible issue about grooming her left rear leg, and clearly her mother hadn't given her pill.
Did you have any bath dogs, or was it all haircuts?
Oh no, I don't have much bath dogs. It was all haircuts. Well, it was all haircuts, and it was the Yorkie from hell wasn't much of a haircut. I didn't have to do much, but I couldn't do anything. Like,
yeah.
Hey. It was just a lot of, it was a difficult day, I'll tell you, but but we were all in it. We were all in it, and we were all in to win it, and we did it, and so then so it has a bonding effect on your team when you really all pull together to get through a bad day.
It's an accomplishment. You feel good about yourself.
Yeah. So that was my day yesterday.
Yeah, that sounds icky.
Yeah. And learning, learning the lesson of scheduling again.
Yes.
Again.
But learning a lesson in a different way too. You guys handled it. You need to up your dogs so that you efficiently use your help, because you're paying her.
I know.
Outside observation, it's none of my business, but that's a place you can reassess your situation, where if you more effectively use her in a crunch, you don't have to tell her you're overscheduling, just overschedule and get a little bit more money coming in that way, and get used to that volume and the teamwork, and less chatting and less lunching and less YouTubing and more actual volume produced. Then it'll ease up the financial burden a little bit. There you go. I'm done preaching.
Yeah, right. Okay, got it. Thanks a lot.
I love you.
I love you too.
So we have exciting industry news. I mean,
okay.
Really cool industry news. Man, I just watched a lady on YouTube who kept shaking her hands. I got to not do that. Sorry, folks. This is really exciting industry news. And there are 2 more podcasts coming out. One of them's out already, and that's Mary Aquendo's Petrapreneurs podcast. And we're going to have her on February, the first February podcast of the month. I'm not sure the date. For some reason I can't.
The 3rd, I think it is.
That's what I was thinking too, but I didn't want to insert my mouth into my foot because it's already full. Anyway, needless to say, We've got Mary coming on to tell us about her 2 new projects, one of which is the Petrapreneurs, Women Petrapreneurs. So it's women in the grooming industry and the pet industry overall. And I know I listened to the first one. I haven't listened to the second one. Barbara's listened to them. What'd you think, Barbara?
Oh, I thought she did a good job, and it's exciting, and I am 100%, 150% for women supporting women.
Yes, and we're on board. We think
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
great because this is an area in which I have to manage my own personal aspirations with the amount of hours that there are in a day, because I would love to have the first grooming network, host a bunch of different shows, give you guys one show every day.
Uh-oh. You're frozen. Am I frozen? Shoot. Hello.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, we're back again.
Am I
Okay,
back?
well, I
Can you
didn't
see
get
me?
Yeah, I see you. Yeah, good. Okay. Well,
Okay. So
phew.
this is an area where I have to manage the fact that I only have so many hours in the day and that I'm already working almost every day. The reason I'm going to the mobile meetup today is because my afternoon appointment's canceled. And I'm so grateful because now I get to go to the mobile meetup. But needless to say, yes.
Plus, it's at the Olive Garden, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's
I
one of
do.
my favorite. It's one of my favorite chain restaurants.
I just hope we have reservations because there's going to be a fair amount of us, and it's Sunday at noon. But
Yeah.
I didn't host this one because, as I'm just talking about, my plate is full. I can't do everything, even though I want to do everything. So what I realize is there's 8 hours in a day, well, like 10 or 12 in my workday, but 8 in most people's workday. And there's room for lots of grooming content, lots of content for us to share. So I want to support Mary, and Mary's second podcast is with our friend and salesperson sponsor / from Evolution Shears, and that is Chris Anthony, and they're doing a mobile grooming podcast called The Traveling Groomer. That one isn't quite launched yet, but it's coming up. Anyway, Mary's going to come on and talk about both of those. Barbara, I'm excited about this. After I digested that it wasn't going to be my network, once I got past that moment, then I'm okay with it. I think it's fantastic. And
You're freezing on me again. What the heck? Shoot.
Bring it on. Hear me. I'm
God.
frozen.
So you were frozen. So you know what? I'm not getting the network connection message.
My router says we're full.
So, there you go again. You're gonna dang. This is a bad day for this to start happening.
Yeah, I wonder how I can check. Oh, I know. I got a way to check. Hang on. Lynn, I'm going to text you if you can hear me, and I need you to tell me what's going on with the viewership because I can't tell what's going on. So, Lynn, I'm texting you because I know you're online.
So we're making her an impromptu assistant.
Indeed, we are. No, that's not. That's Danny's, darn it.
Well,
Hang on.
it could very well just be my computer because as I said earlier, my computer's just been really sluggish today and not wanting to cooperate and not letting me zip around Windows, even though I just shut everything down and rebooted.
Isn't that interesting?
But, I could have a constipated computer.
Okay, well, I'm just going to keep rolling like we can see me, and let's just go with that because I can't find Lynn's phone number right now. So I'm going to, oh, I know. I'll ask on Facebook to see what's going on. See, I'm brilliant. It just takes me a minute.
Yeah, good.
Sorry about all this bedtime, folks. This is not the norm. Let's see. What is going on with our video on YouTube?
Tell us.
Yeah, tell us. So somebody go over to the Facebook page. And I just posted a question with a funny smiley face thing. I don't know why. Anyway, let us know. But meanwhile, we'll just roll on. Anyway, so the area in which I can focus my ambition is this podcast. I was thinking we need to make sure that we always stay entertaining. And I loved giving away those t-shirts last week. I thought that was really fun. But like I told you, I tried to delay the release of the podcast, but it went up in the middle of the night anyway. So I'm going to post a late podcast this next week. I'll set an alarm and I'll post it that way. Hopefully I can figure out how to do it. Maybe it'll be on a Saturday so that the people on the West Coast have the same opportunities as the people on the East Coast do to get the t-shirts because, all the East Coast people get it. They're up earlier. They get the podcast right away in the morning, and us on the West Coast, we're still tucked safely in our beds. So I'm going to try to rectify it with this week's contest. This week's contest will be for the middle of the country and to the West. And we'll do that contest later in the show. Also, I think another way that really helps to get interaction with the podcast, doing this live stuff, that definitely works. Okay, they can see me now. All right. Anyway, doing the podcast definitely works live. That's kind of fun. But I thought we got a lot of action on the Facebook page from the Guess Your Breed poster that you put up there, post that you put up, plus the contest post also generated a lot of stuff. And the Shih Tzu with no nose post also generated some activity. I think that's an area we can do more fun stuff.
Well, I think we'll find it. I think if it's fun, we will find it. So you can count on us for that.
What did you think of my Shih Tzu with no nose? It's so challenging.
Oh, I know. I could tell that it wasn't. It looked like the poor dog was really irritated underneath the eyes there. And that's why I recommended that you recommend to the owners that they do a kind of a face wash with boric acid solution, which would be a contact lens cleaner with boric acid, easy enough to find, because the boric acid will kill the external bacteria that have collected there. It will make the dog smell better, and it will help to keep that from kind of building up and then being irritated underneath the goobies.
I would loved it. Like 4 of the 5 dogs, the owners would be completely compliant in doing it. This house is in a neighborhood where I do 4 houses within sight of each other. So I know all these neighbors. They have never visually seen this dog outside. They don't at other houses even know that these people have a dog. They let the dog out in the backyard, but mostly the dog pee-pees in the laundry room on the pee-pee pads. So,
well, why is that a deal? I don't think my neighbors really know that I have 3 little barking brats. I mean, they hear them, but
you can't walk the dogs. These are able-bodied people who could take their dog out of the house and give it a little bit of enrichment in its world. Instead, the dog is a fear biter that's been biting since it was born, that they want to breed. I mean, I like these people, but they're not really on the ball with the whole responsible dog ownership thing. They do get the dog groomed every 8 weeks, and they never miss that. And if the dog gets actually sick, they do vet the dogs. But I wouldn't particularly want to be their dog because I need a little more enrichment than they give the dogs inside. So anyway, I was surprised that we didn't get any activity from people who are really experienced with Shih Tzu faces giving me guidance as to how to go forward with that issue, because it still is plaguing me. I still don't want to pop those eyes out, and I can't struggle with her face too much. I get in there with those teeny tiny detail or curve shears.
I thought you had done a great job.
Well, I do a great job, but it takes me a really long time to get there. It's not it. Okay. Well, thank you then. Okay. Cause I don't think I don't feel like there's a lot of personality in that face. I don't feel like I'm doing that dog any justice. And that's the only place I'm good at giving personality is right here, because the rest of it I suck at. But the right here, I usually do really well with. And I fight her and she swings her face around and I get in there with my dullest little detailing scissors and it just scares the crap out of me. But okay.
Susie, hold on. You just can't do your best styling on every single dog on your table. You can't. There are dogs like this that you normally wouldn't post the pictures of, like this does not represent my real work. No, you can't do your best on every dog. There are dogs where you have to compromise so much that you don't really like what comes off your table.
Okay.
It happens.
Well, I will post some of the other 4 dogs, because there's 4 other that look like this. This one has the biggest head. I think maybe one of the males of the other dogs is bigger. I know the other 3 of the other 4 are from one family, and they're all the same. And one of them had to have surgery to fix its tiny little nose because it couldn't breathe through one side. Little bubbles just came out of the other side all the time. It was horrible. So they had surgery and they corrected the structure, but they didn't how I had a nose job and they need to build that nose up kind of more, the reverse nose job on that poor puppy. But none of those 3 have behavior issues. The 4th one that is at a different home that came with the other behavior issues, I wonder if those 2 are related, but who knows? Anyway, I wish they would make noses in these dogs. I would be much happier if these dogs had some.
Well, it just seems like there's a breeder in your region who's not nose responsible.
That's funny. All right. Well, let's move on. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with our discussion about no-shows, cancellations, and rescheduling for our first appointment. I'm going to cut the commercial in here, but you guys, this is the Best Shot commercial right now. So buy some Best Shot. It's my favorite. I love it. There you go.
Yeah. That one shot, I'm going to say a little bit about Best Shot. One Shot, Best Shot deodorizer products, state of the art.
I love it.
It is the Febreze for pets,
It has some really advanced technology that Dave kindly shared with us in one of his interviews that Barbara knows all about too, where it encapsulates the smell and takes it away.
Cyclodextrine, not dextrins. My druggy past is coming out.
Yeah. So that stuff, it is one of my favorite shampoos. It's my go-to general shampoo. I use it all the time. Best Shot, One Shot system. I use that conditioner. It's really light. It works well through the coat. It's fabulous in the recirculator, and it really does kill odor. And if I find that I've washed a dog and I still smell a little odor, I grab the spray, spray the dog, and it's gone. It just takes it away.
Yeah. I was suggesting to Dave that they do a one-shot ear cleaner because I was thinking of, nasty cocker ears that smell all the time.
Yes.
And he says you could just spray a spritz inside the ear and rub it around and you would get the same effect. I still think they need to do that. Saying now, wouldn't it also be good to have a one-shot facial wipes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They might do
You
that
know?
with that dog. They might use a
Yeah.
facial wipe if it wasn't something they had to concoct and keep and store. If they just popped it open, did a face wipe, threw it away, they would do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I will continue the conversation
All
with the
right.
Campanella. Yeah.
Okay, on to our first appointment, which is no-shows, cancellations, and rescheduling. I generally do a happy dance when I get a cancellation, but not everybody does a happy dance. A lot of people need that money, and a lot of people have to pay people at work. And I, so as a result, over the years, I've never really implemented a cancellation policy, not an official cancellation policy. But if I find someone is reoccurringly canceling for no reason at all, and it's a considerable appointment, like it's a doodle. I don't mind if your 2 Chihuahua baths cancel. I can find something to do with that hour and a half. But if your doodles cancel, or heaven forbid you have the 2 doodles, because I have those 2 doodle houses, if they cancel, that's going to hit my wallet pretty hard for the week. It's going to hit my day. It's going to kill my day. And for those guys, if there was a reoccurring canceler, I would probably want to implement some kind of a punishment, some kind of, you know, what do you call it? Conditioning, so that they would stop thinking of my time as less valuable. So,
Yeah, no, I had a customer like that, and it was a doodle, and she would give me, there is an excuse that some customers learn that we readily accept. Can you imagine what is one of the most readily acceptable excuses for a last minute cancellation?
I got sick.
No, the
No.
dog has diarrhea.
Oh, that's a good reason. I'm in. I'll take that.
You know, I don't think Cowboy really had diarrhea. I just think that woman knew intuitively that that's a reason that I would accept a last minute cancellation, and she used it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you know, she's gone now, so I can talk bad about her.
Yes, please do. Yeah,
Well,
indeed.
and Marco got her. That's
Yes.
the one. Marco fixed it up for me just fine. So we won't talk about that anymore. But
do you have anything posted?
I do. I have a you know, I use a computer automatic reminder system, and on the appointment reminder, it says that if you need to cancel, it needs to be within, you know, like 48 hours or 72 hours, whatever I picked, I don't remember, of the appointment, or there will be a fee. I just say right there. And most of my customers are pretty darn good about it. They'll come in right under the whatever that limit is. So I'll get a text 2 nights before their appointment. Or sometimes I get a text. Yeah, see, the appointment reminders go out 2 days before the appointment. And sometimes I'll get a response right after they get their reminder that they can't make their appointment. Others, you know, my problem is that I have created so many forms of reaching me. You know, people can call the salon and leave a message, which I'm pretty bad at because I don't like that phone. You know what, Susie? I actually have a hard time hearing. It's a poor fidelity phone, and I have a hard time hearing the conversation. The other day, I even asked the customer, said, "Hey, I'll just text you," and I said, "Okay, good," because I couldn't get it what she was saying. Jesus, that's embarrassing. I need hearing aids so bad. So anyway, you can call me at the shop. You can email me, and you can text me, and you can Facebook message me. So I have all of these ways that people, so I end up, people texting me at 11:30 at night, and I, like, oh yeah, all right. So anyway, my clients are pretty good. The automatic appointment reminders really cut down on the failures to show and the last minute cancellations.
It's
Uh,
interesting that yours go out 2 days before, because I just do mine the night before after I get in from work. So
yeah.
oftentimes it's 8:30 or 9 o'clock at night and I'm sending out the text, mostly text. I still have some people who, probably 5 people who I have to pick up the telephone and call and physically have a conversation, which there's 20 minutes because I never shut up.
I
The
yeah,
curse
I
of
know.
me. Yeah, but texting has helped, but I've always done that. I even did that when I had a shop. But as a mobile, it's even more critical because I don't want to drive somewhere and
All
find
right.
that they're there. But I will wait at a house 15 or 20 minutes. There was one person on Facebook who went to a house and they were standing outside for 15 minutes. And then just as they had decided to drive away, the person came to the door. That's what happens. That's part of the fun of being mobile, you know. And then there's the dogs that won't bark at you because they know what you're there for. So they just sit there and look, and the old people who can't hear are way in the back, and then you're ringing the bell and nothing, and you finally call them on the telephone. Mobile grooming is an adventure for that reason, but I rarely get actual no-shows at the house. Rarely. It's just doesn't happen very often. I do tolerate plenty of cancellations, last minute cancellations, or even I can show up at a house and take a cancellation if I don't think the dog really needs to be groomed, and the people don't have the money, or if the dog is unwell, or I feel like the dog isn't comfortable, or I had to actually have a cancellation because I had a cat with fleas and I couldn't do the next appointment because I was certain that dog would end up with fleas from that cat. So I've been the one to have to do a very last minute cancellation. And everybody laughs at me because I panic, right? I'm like, I'm so sorry. They say, well, you've been coming here for like 15 years. You've never moved our appointment once. It's okay. Go home, clean your trailer.
I have sometimes I ask people to uh, move up or down their time. And sometimes I ask people if they'll switch their day because I'm trying to work with somebody else that's not flexible, that needs a service. Um, I really go out of my way, however, to accommodate my customers, and I don't get taken advantage of too much. Um, I some of that comes with maturity. Like I'm going to tell you, people don't treat older people quite the same way that they treat you when you're young. It's the truth.
I
You
noticed
know,
that.
it's the truth. Yeah.
Yep. Well, I agree with that. Sometimes you have to reschedule, especially as a mobile, just to make your route a little bit better. Or if you get behind or something happens, like there's an equipment issue, then you might have to do a last minute reschedule. When you do something like that, do you offer them like an extra service, like a face wash or something like that, or $5 off, or do you just move it?
No, no, I just move it. I mean,
I'm the
yeah.
same way. I
Yeah,
just move it.
I just ask for a favor. Listen, it's a give and take. It's a mutual, like that's why I'm patient with their dogs. They're patient with me, and that's the way it is. That's the way that it works. That's the kind of customers that I want. And if like I just don't work with, I work with people that have expectations of their grooming, but not really they don't push around the groomer. I'm not going to work with those people.
I myself have cultivated a lovely family of clients. They're
Yeah.
family. I work my way into everybody. I mean, if you spend a week on a cruise ship with me, by the end of the week, I'll know all 1,300 people on that ship, or 2,300 people, and they'll all remember me a year or two later from that wacky girl that was in the trivia who was so memorable. Memorable is the word I think of. I'm memorable. So I work my way into these families, and the occasional reschedule really is not a big deal for me. And like I said, I've cultivated the fact that I'll reschedule. Now, what I can't do is invent a spot for you to put that appointment in. Sometimes if you have to reschedule at the last minute, you're rescheduling for a month out. That can be a little challenging because most of my clients are a month scheduling. So sometimes they miss their appointment completely. Just happens that way, but it's okay. They understand, and nobody's going to turn my cable off or anything like that. So I'm good. You know, it's fine. I can absorb that. Some people can't absorb that, and I get it. But for me, for the people that I am grooming, they know I can, and I'm happy to share that with them. I'm okay with you if you cancel. So anything else we should talk about that? Oh, what about, here's one. What about if you have to have a long-term cancellation? Like you've got to have a surgery. I may have to have a surgery someday, you know, to fix my hands or maybe my ankles. And I might need to reschedule a long-term. When I got fired from the vet hospital, I had nowhere to groom for like 3 months. And my whole client base had to go somewhere else for 3 months. I was lucky they came back, you know, really. But for that kind of a reschedule, I think it's good to give a notice, like if you can give some advance notice or a personal phone call to those people where you're talking to them as a person. Now, if you've got 100, 400 people, you're not going to be able to do that, but you can do the most important people. Your reoccurring bread and butter people can get a phone call from you, and they'll much more easily accept the fact that you have to have a surgery or that you have to go out of town to take care of your parent or whatever it is, or your daughter is sick, whatever you need. If you're honest and upfront, oftentimes if you've developed a good relationship with your clients, to take a chunk of time off is not that big a deal. They'll come back. It helps if you have somewhere to send them that really will send them back. That's helpful.
So you made an interesting point. If you've developed a good relationship, so developing a relationship is not always in every groomer's wheelhouse. You
True.
know,
Some people don't even get to contact the actual person with the dog.
yeah. So that's interesting, and it brings up the whole the question of how do you establish a good relationship? How personal do you get? See, you're very personal. I'm pretty personal too. The you know, like, and so when I had, I mean, and so when I had my knee surgery, everybody knew it was coming. Oh, and then also I took off a month to go to New Zealand and Australia, you know, and everybody planned how they were so happy I was going, and da 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 da, and they were happy I was going to get my knee fixed, and everybody kind of, I lost a couple of good clients when I got my knee done, but not so much by what we had planned for, but you know, I had the complications after surgery that were unplanned for and kind of hampered my getting back in the saddle, and that's where I lost a couple. But most people can go through one or two appointments of maybe just getting a bath and tidy, and not that so
Certainly.
yeah, and it is good to have a relationship with someone in your community who can pick up some of your jobs on an interim basis. I did that for a woman that worked for me on Saturdays as a bather for a couple of years while she was building her in-home business. And then when she went full-time in her own in-home salon, and she had to have a surgery, I took her most important customers who couldn't wait and did them, and I kept a separate little card file for them, so they didn't even get integrated into my files, and I just helped Donna out that way, so that's a thought.
Yeah, that's really cool. I did want to give one last tip before we move on because I do have a hard out today, even though I'd love to sit here all afternoon. We may talk about difficult dogs another day because we're rolling right through our time. And I want to get to the definition du jour and all that stuff. But when you reschedule people, when you call them back and reschedule, when I was a vet hospital receptionist, I learned this. You don't call back without 2 appointment slots that work for you as the person doing the rescheduling. Don't call back and say, "Hey, when do you want to reschedule? Here, we can do something like on Wednesday or Thursday." Give them 2 exact appointments.
Specifics, yeah.
Yeah. And then they can take those or leave those or offer another option that will work for them. I always use that term, what works for you. I love that. That's magic that Barbara gave me. So give them exact appointment times for their rescheduling. Okay. All right. Next, it's South Park Professional Pet Products, which is the Blueberry Girls and the Blueberry South Park facial and all that stuff. We're going to run that ad right now. And then we're going to come back with our back to school segment, which is Barbara's definition du jour. Okay, Barbara, it's time to tackle that Facebook question that popped up earlier in the week about essential oils, specifically tea tree oil and lavender, and how it affects the endocrine system.
Okay, so this is kind of like a fact check definition, and it's not a definition per se, but I fact checked this, and because this has occurred before, this suspicion that tea tree oil and lavender oil were endocrine disruptors and had caused the formation of breasts in young boys. Okay, so this was like first popped up in 2007, I think it was. I may be wrong on the dates, but I did post some of this information to the discussion group earlier today. And what that was about was there was like 3 or 4 boys that appeared to this the doctor as having this condition of developing breasts.
It's called, in case you don't know, moobs. Man boobs. Moobs.
Moves.
Yes.
Well, and like that's a horrible thing for a boy, young, early adolescent boy to have to deal with. They got enough to deal with, but that's a really difficult condition. Now, what happened? It was traced back to a product or products that had lavender and tea tree oil in them. However, the products weren't identified. The essential oil sources weren't identified. You couldn't even tell whether it was good essential oils or poor quality essential oils. There was no discussion or research into whether other things in the boy's life might have caused the problem. They just all 3 of them had used this body wash or whatever it was that had these essential oils in it. So that finding was pretty much dismissed.
Way back then.
But in 2018, another study was done. So that wasn't a study. Like the first thing wasn't a study. It was just a finding. Okay. The second incident was a study where they took components of the essential oils, chemical components of lavender and tea tree, like linalool or linalool acetate, those kind of little chemical components of essential oils, and applied them to cancer cells in a petri dish, and then came to the conclusion that these essential oil components were endocrine disruptors. Now, problem with that study, that those findings was everything was done outside the body. This is all like in vitro work. So it didn't affect like a growing cancer in a body, in a human body, with all of the aspects of the human body at play, nor did it utilize whole, true essential oils from good source. Right?
Right.
So it was just too piecemeal. Sometimes science does that. Sometimes science, in order to investigate a possible connection, gets so dissociated from reality that the findings cannot possibly apply to real life.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this is kind of what happened there. So even though the Endocrine Society, which is a group of scientists and doctors related to study of endocrinology, even though they adopted that study and they're the ones that kind of published this second fearful report, even though those scientists kind of went along with the findings, the essential oil scientists are drawing it out into, they're parsing it in such a way as that we understand that it's not applicable to real life. There needs to be a lot more work done before we just dismiss all essential oils, or the essential oils. Lavender has been used for a millennium, and
you would think if this was actually the case, we would have seen a lot more of this, especially in the cultures before medicine was around, where they were using lavender a lot.
A lot, right? And it just doesn't hold up. It doesn't hold up, and I don't think we even need to stop using lavender until there's further research, because further research is probably not going to support this this finding. Okay, so that's where I am on that. So my fact check says, don't worry.
Okay,
be happy.
Good. All right, good. We'll dismiss that. It occurs to me that
So what I posted on the on our discussion group Facebook page was a link to a letter, all right, an article about the first study, and a link to Robert Pappas' article on the second study. And anybody that wants further details can just go to either one of those references and get kind of a more fleshed out review of the matter.
Got it. All right. So tell me about a show season product.
Oh, yes. Well, something I've neglected to think about this week.
Crap, I sent you a text. Here's a little peek behind the scenes, folks.
It was my birthday.
I forgive you. Well, okay.
My birthday. So I know I can do something on the spot, and I will say show season has a variety of ear cleaner products that you might want to look at. If you want to have an ear cleaner without alcohol, they have a really good witch hazel based ear cleaner that you can use. If you're interested in finding the Lisa Leedy
Miracle Ear Elixir.
Miracle Ear Elixir, which I'm not selling at the moment because I'm not buying anything that I have to sell. You can buy that at show season. And they've got a chlorhexidine Soothe ear cleaner if you think that there might be bacteria. So if they have stinky ears, the chlorhexidine ear cleaner is a good option. So
I
there's
think I'm going to get some of that.
yeah, 3 ear cleaners from Show Season. So that's yeah, I'm going to get both of the other of the. I love the Lisa Ledy ear elixir, but I'm going to try out the other two from Show Season. Yeah.
Good point about that ear elixir, because that is fantastic. I'm going to get that instead. I love that stuff. If you guys are interested in checking out the ear cleaners or any of the products at Show Season, you can go to their website, showseasongrooming.com. Call them at 678-382-0218 to get that wholesale price. Or if you're already set up with them, you can email them, and they're also available at many of our local distributors like Groomers Mart and my very favorite Cascade Grooming Supply. Well, Barbara, I think I need to run or I'm going to be late to the Groomers Connection thingy dealy bobber.
Oh, you better run.
Yeah, so this show
you'll be late to wait.
Yeah. I know.
You know you're going to sit there and just like what I would say to you while you're sitting there waiting, phones off.
That's right. This is networking time. We're going to talk to each
Phones
other.
Off. Yeah, I know.
Eye to eye conversations.
Isn't it funny to see people sitting in a group and everybody's got their faces stuck in an iPhone or a phone or a tablet? God, phones off.
Yep, phones off.
So you better hurry up so you're not late to wait.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys, for actually being here, even though no one did ever chat with me. I don't know what that deal is. Let me know if it doesn't show up or if you don't have access to it, because I'd love to know. I'd love to be able to interact with you while we're doing this. But the more exciting thing is that we're going to be able to do this on Facebook, where we will be able to see comments, and we'll do an experimental one of those this week and see how that all works. Another thing to mention, just little housekeeping, please, when you're doing your shopping on Amazon, go to our website, click on the Amazon banner, and support the show. Lastly, thank you to all of our sponsors on Patreon. We really appreciate you guys. The GroomPodsters are strong, and we love you. All right, guys. Barbara, do you have anything you want to add?
No, we've had a good time being here with you today, and I again apologize for being late to the date, but it was fun. I would also like to have more interaction. I can't wait to do the live Facebook thing, and I want y'all to go out and take care of yourselves this week.
All right. Bye, everybody. Happy grooming. See you next week on the Groom Pod. Bye.
Bye. Love you.